Hey, Sox fans, not a good showing by the White Sox on Sunday, but the Sox have not lost a series all season long. What's going on with the offense? And we're going to get you ready for game one of the Cleveland series.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also brought to you by Blue Nile. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off a $500 purchase. Use code LOCKEDON. That's LOCKED. ON at checkout. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong, diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to get into this Cleveland series and going to break down all of the Tampa Bay series, of course. But first, it was a very poor showing by our White Sox yesterday afternoon. Here is the state of the Sox. They are 6-3 with a +6 run differential, 2 games up in the AL Central standings. It's never too early to start looking at the standings, in my mind. So we're 6-3, have not lost a series yet all season long, which is a good thing. Sunday's game, though, not good at all. Sox lose to the Tampa Bay Rays in the series finale, 9-3. If you did not watch the game, you didn't miss much. Although we were all missing the 83s. Where were the 1983 Sunday jerseys, the traditional Sunday garb for a home game? I have not heard a reason of why they weren't wearing the 83s. I will look into it. I will keep you posted. Vince Velasquez, he started for the White Sox. He went 4 in 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, all in the first inning. 3 of those runs were earned, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, and Velasquez committed 2 errors. It was a very rough first inning for Vince. Katz even came out and made a visit. It didn't look like he was going to get past the first at all. I didn't even know if he was going to get out of that inning. But with 0 days off until April 25th, you've got to eat some innings. You cannot go into the bullpen like that. Velasquez did settle in, and he was able to go 4 2/3 through 85 pitches. 52 of them were strikes. So again, just a really bad first inning, and he didn't help the cause with his 2 errors, but was able to help the bullpen a little bit. Banks, Foster, Severino, and Crick came in that order after Velasquez left. Severino went 2/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs and 3 hits, and he committed an error. Severino did not look sharp at all. Didn't walk anybody, just was out of sorts. It's still very early in his Major League Baseball career, but he was a little erratic, and the Rays jumped all over him. Sox offense on Sunday, 3 runs, 3 hits. Sox were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. There were a couple opportunities for the White Sox with bases loaded, and they just could not bust through. Vaughn did not play on Sunday, deciding to go with Sheets, I guess, to face the righty that Tampa was throwing. There was an opportunity for Tony La Russa to pinch hit and use Vaughn, but he did stick with Sheets. Gavin ended up hitting a solo home run in the 9th. Little too late. Coming into the game, the White Sox had only 14 walks and had the 3rd worst on-base percentage in all of baseball, but were tied for the best winning percentage and tied for the most wins in all of baseball. Love the aggressive nature of this offense. If you've been watching, you've been listening on the radio, you've noticed that the Sox are jumping all over the first few pitches in an at-bat. They are not seeing a lot of pitches, and it's a little different than years past. I like it. Be aggressive, but this means that, your on-base percentage might take a hit. Is that sustainable? Can you have the success the Sox have been having with such a low on-base percentage? It's doubtful. However, the White Sox walked 5 times on Sunday, yet only scored 3 runs. So it's really what you do in those opportunities with men on scoring position, which has always been the case as a Sox fan watching this team. It's frustrating. And when you look at a game like Sunday, got out of hand late, but the Sox were in it. It was 4-2 for a while, and the Sox had opportunities, men on, and just couldn't get the big hits. It's just maybe one of those days, Sunday, but the Sox offense, they're sitting in the bottom 3rd of the American League in terms of offensive numbers. Robert has definitely cooled off. Luis Robert was 0 for 12 in the Tampa series. Josh Harrison, it was good to see him return to the lineup after tweaking his back, but he was 0 for 7 in the Tampa series. Grandal, 1 for 10 in the Tampa series. Here's some injuries, some news, some notes. Yohan Moncada, they could sure use his bat. Manager Tony La Russa said on April 16th that Moncada was still feeling discomfort in the oblique. He's been on the IL since April 4th. Still not good. He's getting better, but there's still some discomfort when he makes certain moves, TLR said. He's going to have to be able to go full bore with the swings and the workouts and the running before you can realistically say, hey, X days from now. La Russa said Moncada felt pain when swinging, doing defensive work and running. Not a good sign. AJ Pollock expected maybe late April. Pollock has been away from the White Sox since April 10th for the birth of his child and with the hamstring issue. Manager Tony La Russa said Pollock was up to 80 to 85% as of April 15th, and the team could send him to AAA Charlotte soon for a short rehab assignment. The Sox are getting it done without guys like Moncada and Pollock and without Lynn and Gio, but how long can that be sustained? Let's look at Saturday's game. It was game 2 of the series, a nail-biter. Sox won 3-2 against the Rays. It was Liam Hendriks' bobblehead game, 27,000 plus in attendance. I was there. A chilly game, but a spirited crowd who saw Michael Kopech deal. He went 5 innings, gave up only 1 run, 0 earned, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. His ERA is 1.00 right now. Through 75 pitches, 45 of them were strikes. His fastball sat in the mid-90s. I saw it hit 96, 97 through 25 pitches in the first inning, then settled down, which is a really good sign. There was an article on Kopech in Sunday's Trib, Lamont Pope. With that article, the Sox beat reporter. Here's Kopech talking about how things went If my first inning would have been as a reliever later on in the game, I don't think I would have completed the inning, he said. But as a starter, you get a chance to find your feet and find your legs and get out there and compete. I did that today, and we were able to get a little deeper than it might have looked in the first. TLR commenting on Kopech, he just got better and better. Kopech retired the last 10 batters he faced. And that is, that quote, I really like that quote from Kopech because that's what happened. He is wanting to be a starter. We've heard Kopech talk about that over the years, and that is a marathon. It really is. And, he had a bad first inning, but he settled down and he got the job done. And he did. He got better and better, to TLR's quote. He looked stronger, and retiring the last 10 batters was pretty great to see. Sox were up against Kluber on Saturday, the second AL Cy Young Award winner they saw in the past week. Of course, Robbie Ray with the Mariners, they saw last week. Kluber, he won the American League Cy Young Award in 2014 and 2017 with Cleveland, entered Saturday with a 13-5 record and a 2.96 ERA in 25 career appearances against the Sox. And the Sox handled him pretty well, especially after, cycling through the lineup. Tampa had only 5 hits in that game on Saturday. Lopez, Ruiz, Sousa, Hendricks came in for his 4th save. Liam made it interesting, giving up 2 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. After having 2 hits on Friday night, one of them a big home run, Berger was not in the lineup on Saturday. Harrison, of course, was back. TLR played Garcia instead of Berger. TLR said Garcia had good numbers against Kluber. However, Garcia went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Abreu had his first home run of the season. He's on another traditionally slow start, as he tends to be in April and May. It was good to see him get that long ball. Sox offense had 0 walks on Friday and on Saturday. Talking about, again, that on-base percentage. I want to discuss that Friday Apple TV game. More on that in a moment. Hey, betonline.net is your #1 source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And we've been reviewing those Luis Robert numbers. Total home runs in the 2022 regular season. The over-under right now for BetOnline is set at 30.5. I'm thinking still you're going to want to go over. And the total RBIs for Luis Robert in the 2022 regular season, that over-under set at 95.5. I think you're going to go over for that as well. Go over to betonline.net and earn some cash. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. Recaps of the MLB games with analysis from our local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So this Friday night game, it was a game that the Sox won, close one again, 3-2 against the Rays. Now, it was on Apple TV Plus. A lot of folks having problems trying to find it. Some just submitted and listened to the radio. Lots of conversation about the broadcasters. I didn't mind. I was able to, I pulled up my app on my tablet and was able to then project it on my TV. It wasn't a big issue. However, I could see how it might be for others. I didn't mind the broadcasters too much, but you didn't have that hometown feel. I mean, there was the classic butchering of names and, trying to sound knowledgeable about the White Sox, but it just came off forced. And, a little inaccurate. And I think anytime I have a problem with an announcer especially when it's a national game, it's few and far between that the Sox get. My issue is always that it just feels like these announcers, these broadcasters are not invested in the White Sox like I am as a fan. And it's tough to do that, obviously, when you're a national broadcaster. I mean, that's my big issue. I guess that's why I loved Hawk Harrelson for so many years. He lived and died with every pitch like you did as a fan. So it was an interesting broadcast. Maybe the Sox have another game or two on Apple TV Plus. My takeaway is, I just miss having that investment, that fandom that Jason and Steve bring, check-ins with Chuck at NBC Sports Chicago studios. That they are going to give you the most in-depth in plugged in viewpoints because they're the local, the hometown broadcasters. But Dylan Cease, if you weren't focusing on the broadcasters, which you really didn't need to, because Dylan Cease put on the show. Cease pitched 5 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks. His ERA now sits at 1.69. 91 pitches were thrown. 63 of them were strikes. He had that put away breaking ball working. The spin was intense. He was able to spot it for a first pitch strike, but also break it off and bury it in the dirt to get a strikeout. He got into a jam in the 4th. No damage was done. Katz was interviewed, kind of an in-game interview that Apple TV was doing. And Katz said that Cease would probably go 90 to 95 pitches, which he did. Brought in Bummer in the game to take his place. Bummer had some problems, 1 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. And then Graveman and Hendricks came in to finish things off. Graveman has been pitching outstanding for the White Sox this early season, but Cease really was the talk. He looked confident. He looked in control. He attacked. Again, that one jam, and he was able to get out of it. There was just enough offense for the Sox. Jake Berger with a big blast to left field. He had 2 hits. I'm wondering if the Sox can find some opportunities to get him in the offense, in the lineup a little bit more regularly with Moncada, with the question marks we have with Moncada and when he's going to be back. Berger, if he hasn't gotten a hit, he's hit it hard. His exit velocity is up there. So I'd like to see what they're going to do with Berger, just getting him some regular at bats because he's shown some power. The game on Friday, this Apple TV game, was under 3 hours. Sox had 3 runs on 6 hits, 0 errors, and 0 walks. Want to get you ready for the upcoming series with the Cleveland Guardians. Going to talk about that in just a moment. This is the time of year when most people have given up on their New Year's resolutions, but not me. I'm sticking to my resolution of eating right thanks to Built Bar. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, they're not just a protein bar. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, Puffs included. 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Go to built.com. You'll be blown away. High protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb. Most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15, that's LOCKED15, for 15% off at built.com. So let's preview Monday's matchup with the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland is 4-5 on the season. They are going to be sending Triston McKenzie to the mound for game one of this series. Triston McKenzie has some numbers for 2022 already. He's thrown 7 innings, given up 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, and only 2 earned runs. Last year for Cleveland, McKenzie had a 4.95 ERA. In 2021, McKenzie pitched 17 innings against the Sox. He gave up 22 earned runs. So we were able to handle him pretty well last season. The White Sox were 10-9 against Cleveland last year with a +7 run diff. There were some really close games. Cleveland battled us pretty well last year. Dallas Keuchel will be sent to the hill for the White Sox to start this series off. Keuchel looked really well in his first outing. He threw 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, and that 0 walks, which was huge. Keuchel pitched against Cleveland a couple times last season. He pitched in total 11 innings, gave up 9 earned runs, 9 hits, 5 walks. So not the greatest numbers against Cleveland. Again, hopefully this is a new Dallas. The weather forecast for Monday in Cleveland, not good. 42 degrees with a 100% chance of rain throughout the day. It is a 5 p.m. Central Standard Time start. So we'll see. Hopefully they get that that game in. But with not having a day off until April 25th, a day off might not be too bad for our White Sox. Hey, thank you so much for listening. You can find this podcast everywhere you find your podcast. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, just call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on the next episode, if this game gets in on Monday, and hopefully it does, I'll wrap up Keuchel's outing and get you ready for game 2 of the Cleveland series featuring Jimmy Lambert on the hill for the White Sox. Really appreciate you making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.